מה? לא הבנתי, הכל בסדר? אוקיי, טוב. היי!
Hey, Yahli.
How are you? Good morning.
Yeah, very good morning. You know, Friday morning here, it's already fun by definition, starting with some sports activity, with some running.
So where did you run? How long did you run?
Like 50 minutes, something like that.
Oh, okay. And how many kilometers is it?
A little bit like 6 and something.
Wow.
It's an easy run. It's not intensive. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm happy to hear. So you're full of energy. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Good. So can I just introduce you to people who don't know you? You know, there might be few on the planet, not much, not many, but so I have a great pleasure to have a second conversation. And I'm not saying if I may say, I mean, not the last one, okay? Only the second, okay? With my friend, Dr. Amir Geffen, who is a researching education technologist. And he's also lecturing at the Israel Academic College in Ramat Gan. And I think for me, at least, is the most interesting role is managing the AI lab at the R&D unit at the Israel Ministry of Education. So we are going to talk today about two mega forces, which is technology and also education.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a brief discussion yesterday, and we had another plan for today, but we started the conversation and somehow we got to the notion that what we see all around us, and it's extremely concerning for us as people who are dealing with you're dealing with technology and education. I'm dealing with technology and education, but not of young children. And we see that there is a lot of fear around us regarding technology in particular, and especially regarding AI, if I may say, mm-hmm. Because it's, I would say this is a Sputnik moment of AI in many ways. So can we start with what do you think, for you, what is the definition of fear in general? How do you relate to fear? What is the definition?
I'd say that, from the moment we are born, fear is a very existential feeling, very strong feeling. It's the feeling that we are out of control and something really bad is going to happen. So as we are born, as little children, we were so much dependent on our parents, on our mother, to hold us, to feed us. However, we don't control her availability. And I think we get into the world with such a huge existential fear. What would happen? I cannot take care of myself, and I don't know when my needs are going to be provided. So, and if we go into our DNA, from our ancestors, it's this big tiger who would come into our cave and eat us all together. So I think that fear is one of the building blocks of our personality. Yeah. Now, so it goes very much back and deep and to the foundations of us as human beings. Now,
can I just
add to say what we are doing, what we are doing with it? But that's another discussion.
You know what I think we should add is that how biology is working, because here we have the amygdala. Yes. Would you like to talk about it, or do you want me to talk about it? What?
I think we should give some space and honor to, we didn't came here, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 years ago. When we came here, we brought with us, huge history of evolution. Of mankind, and take it from here.
So the amygdala, it's located here, and what is very interesting, in my opinion, and I want to hear what you think about, is that it has, first of all, we are, because of its capabilities, we are sensitive 10 times more to negative messages than to positive. And what is, I think, even more interesting is that the amygdala has the ability to, in a sense, disrupt the blood flow to the hippocampus, where we are taking the rational, the long time view, and so I think it's also related to what Kahneman is talking about, first model and second model of thinking, because when we are in fear, I think first model, being spontaneous, emotional, taking only the short view. So it may be that I think fear it has a lot of roles and I think responsibilities in our life, because if you go to the street and, a car is not responding to the, the electric light orders, and they are traveling in red. So it's very good that you have the amygdala, but do you think it's still so crucial for us in modern world, in this time and era, that the amygdala has such a huge control over our lives? What do you think?
First of all, yes, we're still biological creatures. We will talk in a moment about technology and robots. And
in a second we will talk about it. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we cannot go away yet from our, biology structure. It confronts us as much as we want to think that we can rationalize everything we can. So I think we need to. I think the first thing we need to do is to recognize that this is part of our life and a very dominant part. And then we need to see what we're doing with that, and we need to separate between fear, I would say, and anxiety. Okay, so yes, fear, and it can also, save our lives in some, critical situations. But it can also get a somewhat twist or evolution to an area of anxiety. And this is something that becomes, and it's all matter of proportions. But if we are walking around in the world and keep fearing all the time of this and that, and the technology and the robots and the politician and the climate, and you would end up with a very difficult life experience.
May I just for a second, can we pause on what we said? Because I thought you said it in the, and I think it's worthwhile, contemplating about the fact that before going to anxiety and technology, just this, because I think the issue that we yet can't have a biological impact on fear, but it's only, can you elaborate what you're thinking, what you're dreaming about regarding this?
I think again, if someone would offer me to, delete the sense of fear, I would not take this pill or medicine or treatment, because I think it's important. It's really important that sometimes we would have some fear, some resistance of things, and it's it's a protection mechanism. So,
but what about people with post-trauma?
So, as we said, it at a certain level it's healthy, and then when it goes a bit out of control, and and by the way, control actually it's an important factor connected to fear, because a lot of the fears are related to lack of control. I cannot control and we so much love to be in control that lack of control gets us into some fear and anxiety. So they are very much related. But when those emotions, any emotions, gets, let's say, out of control in a way into, so then we can get into some pathologies like psychiatric pathologies like paranoia, like post-trauma. So these are cases where, due to some events or whatever, there was a twist in the balance of and how we and the place that we need to give fear. But some, existence of fear is healthy, but it needs to be regulated and controlled.
Okay, regulated. That's love. I love. And you wanted to talk about the difference between fear and anxiety. I think it's very interesting. Can you share with us what are your thoughts?
I think that anxiety is, in a way, again, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but it's like a state of mind. It's a negative state of mind that bad things are going to happen, and I need to be prepared, and I keep walking around the world with looking all the time back and trying to see where the bad things are going to come from the side, from the cars, from the weather, from the walls, from whatever.
So it's a constant state.
And also from people, they will hurt me, they will hurt my feelings, and you are occupied with things that didn't happen. Okay.
Fear, so it's a constant state. It's a constant state instead of fear that is in a state
of mind. Instead of reaction to an event, and this is very difficult to live with. Let's say non-regulated fear and anxiety. It's people are going to treatment to try and deal with that. To psychologists and psychiatrists.
Amir, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about the conversation we had yesterday. So do you think that right now we, as human race, are we experiencing fear of technology or anxiety of technology?
I'd like to say it's more on the anxiety side. But again, those are very much related because it's fearing about something, and here again it's related to control. There's something new, there's something is changing, I'm not in control, I don't know what will happen, and then some people, through the structure of their personality, would be excited about it. We would see an opportunity. It's an adventure. And some people with different personality structures say, hey, that's, it's this notion of what can go wrong and how it's looking on the negative side of those things instead of the positive and the opportunities, and say it will hurt us. It will,
I heard yesterday.
Will change our world for the worse.
Okay. I listened yesterday to some conversations. In the last few months, Kevin Cayley gave some very interesting interviews. So he was asked, why is it so hard for people to think about technology? And he said that it's simply easier for us to imagine negative things than positive things.
Sure.
The other thing he said, which was very interesting, is that the bad things happen very quickly, and that the positive things, it takes much longer to build. And
yes.
And the third thing which he said, which was beautiful in my eyes, he says that negative things are usually the things that are happening, and the positive things can many times be the things that are not happening, meaning, the child that wasn't molested. And so I just, I listened to it. This week I spent a lot of time, last week I spent a lot of time with Genevieve. Every week I have a teacher that I'm spending like between 3 to 8 hours with, because, and I wish I could do nothing and just be with him, but anyway, I'm just saying, I was wondering, what do you think about that? And how in your opinion, according to because you're sitting on a very interesting junction, because you're talking about technology and education, and then you have the educators, and you have the children, and you have the ministry, and I mean, you're in the junction of all the stakeholders, so you have to deal with the fear of all of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm just taking what Kevin Kelly, the legendary Kevin Kelly was speaking about as a departure point, and everything you want to say, I'll be delighted to hear, and probably all the audience. Yeah.
So I learned through my, you're absolutely right, through my professional work. I learned over time and experiences. When I'm presenting to educators, to government officials, and I'm coming, my area of expertise are around AI, around robots, around these types of technology. Not only that, I also have a PhD research in cyberbullying. So the things that I'm talking about, and usually I come and I'm very passionate about those topics, and through experience, many times I view the eyes of my audience and I saw this fear. So I learned, and it's, in many of my presentations, there's like at the beginning, I said, here's a trigger warning, okay? What I'm going to show you today, let's say about digital assistant educators, okay, or robots that can help teachers. And through experience, when I was presenting there, I saw this fear: is this going to replace us? Are these robots or very sophisticated software where we are going to be obsolete? There would be no room for teachers anymore. The robots will take over. The machines are coming. And it took me time to start my discussions and presentation with a trigger event, to say, I'm going to show you things that are going to blow your mind. They are disruptive, but in a way to try and ease the fear, to say, look, let's breathe, let's be, calm. It's not something violent, and yes, those technologies are coming, but let's take a moment before we react, those instincts of fight, fly, or freeze. Let's give ourselves a moment to just look on that without those interpretations. What's going to happen, how it's going to replace me, how it's going to take over. Let's wait with the interpretations. Let's just see the technology, what it is, how it's working, and then slowly and easily, now let's discuss what's the impact and how we should adapt for that. And it's I learned that to start my presentations, because they are talking about disruptive, to start with that. Okay, so, and when this message, I feel that it's coming through now, that there's some ability to listen. Otherwise, I saw some rejection. Okay.
I understand. What is my association? My association is one of the lectures that Astor Taylor gave, and about innovation. So he said, let's assume that you want to create a podium and put a monkey on it, and that the monkey will speak in 17 languages. Mm-hmm. So he says, usually what we will do, most of the people will start building the podium. And he said, tackle the monkey. So, if you can't if you can't deal with the monkey, don't bother doing the project. So I think in this sense, you're really tackling the monkey, meaning you're going to the hardest part. So, but when
right at the beginning, to set those expectations, not to you know, it's very easy for people to deal with technology, like in a way to discount or to say, okay, the people who are fearing from what I'm presenting, you know, and I say, regardless, this is my audience. And if they are in a state of fear and rejection, they are not open to listen. So I need to spend a few minutes to prepare them and to relax them. And now we can go and explore some disruptive technologies.
Amir, can I ask a question about this process? Because I think, I want to hear your opinion, of course, is that fear is an emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When you're speaking to them, you're appealing to the cognitive capabilities.
True. It's you know, it's very hard to say to someone, don't feel fear, or don't feel love, or don't feel, you know, those are feelings, and it's not that I'm providing a command and suddenly, okay, so Amir said we should not fear about it, so let's not fear. Absolutely right. But it's still better than nothing. And it's also another thing important is around the empathy. So it's to say, I'm not coming from the outside, from the government, from the ministry, from the R&D unit, and I'm going to force you to change or to adapt for technologies. It's like, I'm with you with it. Yes, it can. So I'm also, when I'm doing those introductions about what I call a trigger warning, I position myself as someone who can relate to me, who understand what I feel, and I can create a dialogue with him.
Yeah.
So as much as I cannot have them not to fear, at least they say, okay, this person who comes from his position, you know.
Yeah, he's not patronizing us.
Exactly.
And I think the other part is what I think of what you're doing, which I think is crucial. We know it now from children's psychology, is the acknowledgement.
Yes.
It's like, you know, when a child is afraid of the monster, so coming to say, well, there is no monster, it's not helpful. He says, well, you can come and you say, you know, yeah, it's very frightening to find a monster on under your bed. It should be, you should be very cautious, definitely. So the acknowledgement, I think, so that's beautiful. So because you're confronted with all the fear from all over,
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit how do you move them then? So this was the first phase, meaning acknowledgement and empathy, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to show them exactly what they're afraid of, right?
Yes. I think, you know, in our army training, there was always those signs, you know, knowledge prevents fear. Once you know, it's usually when we are fearing from something which is unknown and we have no control. So I think that the best way to deal with that is to try and give to people in baby steps, to experiment with this and to see that how we say the shed is not that awful.
The devil is not, it's not the devil, it's only the shade of something that might have been the devil.
And so I learned that, you know, give people to experiment with that, to touch it, to spend some time with this technology and say, okay, it's not biting you, you know, the sky is not falling, everything is okay. This is my way to bring people who resist and feel anxiety, especially for technology, to say, you know what, it's not that scary, it's even nice, and I can see how it can help me and support my teaching work or whatever. And And it's a process. So that's my methodology.
So what you're saying, so the first step is acknowledgement and empathy. Empathy and acknowledgement doesn't matter. And then the experience part.
Experiencing. Yes. Right.
I mean, go and play with it like a toy.
With baby steps, because if you are afraid of it,
yeah,
it's you take your first steps are very cautious, and that's okay. You do not rush them. You do not urge it. Okay, take your time. Okay. And I'm here with you, and we'll do it together.
So you're moderating the process. You're moderating.
Exactly.
And how long does it take, the process? I mean, how long that usually is the process? I mean, an hour, a week? Did it go? Is it a long process? And
usually, when I work with educators, there is always some providing some background and knowledge. Let's say 1 hour, and then if I have an hour and a half, then the last 30 minutes would be, let's experiment. Let's do it, and then let's hear some reactions. So I think that even within 1.5 hours, 2 hours, I can create a little change. I can have someone who came with resistance and fear because they know what is the topic and what is the title. Say, you know what? And again, some people it takes less time, and then some people is longer, and some people would never agree to adopt what I'm bringing to the table, and it's okay, and we need to we need to respect them.
I think again, I'm sorry, I'm
quoting. Not to patronize them, not to say you are old-fashioned, you are obsolete, your time is over. No, it's
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and again, I'm going to quote Kevin Kelly now, and he said that when a mind meets a new idea, it can never go back. So meaning, we are all the time evolving, and we know that the brain keep connection with synaptic. So I was wondering, in your opinion, which are I would say, who are the early adopters? I mean, can they be characteristic in any way, and the one that the laggards? Okay.
I can see them immediately when I get into a room.
Really? How come?
And I present. I can see immediately the ones who are leaning forward. I can see some sparks in their eyes. Wow, that they're fascinated, and it's a reaction. It's also a feeling. They're excited. Wow, it's amazing. And there's like, and you can see it in their body language. You are, and over years, I learned to map the room through looking on their body language, whether they are leaning forward or whether they're like,
I see.
Creating this.
I see. Yeah.
Now, usually I would try to deal with that. I mean, the ones who are with me, I know everything will be okay. And I learned, although it's much easier and fun to work with the people who relates to you and wants to, let's do it. I'm looking on those who are not with me.
That's it.
And I try to bring them to engage.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that it's related to age, to gender, or it doesn't matter?
Not extremely. So I can. It really goes, I think, as we started this conversation, to your personality structure. You can find old people who are very open, very confident, very willing to try, and you can also find young people who are blocking themselves and scared. I think it goes back really to your early years of childhood and your experiences, and whether you grow up to be an optimistic person or pessimistic. It's very hard to change. But this is where I put my effort, and I cannot give them psychological treatment. So what I'm doing is give them to experience. And then say, okay, now that you experienced it, what do you think? Is it still so? Or do you think, is there anything that this digital assistant, this digital teaching assistant, can you see something that it can help you with? Okay?
What in
task. And through this dialogue, you would find a use case, not coming from me, but coming from the person, the teacher that I'm being. So you know what? Actually, if this machine of yours, this can help me with that, this is I can see value. Great. So let's do the things that helps you. You know, I'm here for you, not to force you on. So I think that you know, technology is many times very generic, and we can find the right use case where a person or a teacher would say, "This is, you know, this is helpful. I would try this."
Okay, wonderful. Do you see a difference regarding fear or anxiety that are related to different options that you're putting on the table? I mean, are there, for example, robotics, for example, do you see them creating more fear than, let's just say, I don't know, a voice assistant? I'm
you know, yes, the digital teaching assistant creatures, robots, whether they are physicals or avatars, they are creating more fear. They are creating more fear because you see, you know, a digital teacher, and what's going to be about me, and is it going to replace me, and so these are really creating more fear than, for example, if I'm presenting an application that can help you to grade to a natural language processing system that can help you to grade answers which are written in open text, not just multiple choices. So the more narrow it is, it's easier, you know, to relate. But when you're talking about something which is now also, I see more fear coming up when we are talking about machines that can recognize how do we feel. Are we happy?
Really?
I think this is really creating resistance when I'm presenting machines or technologies that can analyze body language and can analyze voice and can analyze text. Not just to say what is written there, but what is the state of mind and what is the emotional status of the person that this video camera is. This is scary stuff to me.
Why do you think this is so scary?
Because I think that you know, the emotional area and how we feel and whether if we are happy or depressed, or this is you know, goes to this is a very core human quality, and it also needs, you know, psychologists or they learn years over years in order to detect, to identify you know, those emotional states of anxiety or depression, or God forbid, suicide ideation. Those are very, you know, human functions. And when I step into the room and say, hey, I have this machine who wants to do that, who wants to read your posts on social media and to say if there's some suicide thoughts that we should red flag, that this person, this goes to the big brother fears, and so yes, these are the most scary, to me also most fascinating, but most scary areas of those things, machines that can detect a state of emotion.
Interesting. Do you think this is also a reflection of how the children are feeling? I mean, these are educators, and they go. Okay, can you elaborate about?
It's much easier than the children's. Again, it's this is the hope. They are, of course, much more open and excited, and they have this playfulness, and they are not feeling about their career and about they're still young. They're still looking for the fun side and for the gaming side, and they are curious, and I hope that we as adults could maintain more of this childhood state of mind. So with children, it's way more easier than adults. They are excited. Okay, to show the machines pictures of sad people and happy people, and see how the machines can detect properly, makes them excited.
Amir, so can I ask a provocative question then?
Yes.
So do you think we really need the middleman, the educator? Because what you're saying is that, let's talk about it in marketing or business terms for a second. What you're saying is that the middleman is hesitant, is a little bit, concerned, afraid, and has some anxieties. But, the target audience is extremely, positive and open. And so I'm really asking about right now, what is this? I mean, should we use a middleman to convey the message, or should we go straight to the children and give another role to the teachers, not eliminate the role, but give them another role? Perhaps, I don't know, what do you think about that? Because it might... I think
that the role of being a teacher is changing. It's obvious to me that it's no longer about providing pure knowledge. Okay, the knowledge is out there in ChatGPT. You can get all the world knowledge in your fingertips. I think as a teacher, you really need to be a mentor that generates curiosity, a mentor that helps to facilitate good atmosphere, good climate, positive climate, protective climate, in which then children can thrive and be on their own and look for the things that interest them. And I think it's perfectly okay. I would say you can be an artificial intelligence teacher, whereas the children in your classroom maybe know more about AI than you, and it's okay. You don't need to be, how come my students know better than me? That's fine. It's not a competition about who knows more. They have all the knowledge is equally accessible to you and them. So your role is a bit different. Your role is really, as I said, to give them learning skills, to give them curiosity, and to protect, to look on their mental well-being, okay? And also as adults, you also look on fairness, okay? So let's look not just on the bright students. Let me also do some intervention with the kids who are having more difficulties. Let me help them, okay? So your role is really to see that you help the ones that needs more help and more attention to keep up. And these are really I think the new task of being a teacher, of being an educator. The middleman, you are right. I don't need to teach the children about Newton or Einstein. They can put VR glasses, go into the metaverse, and make a quick selfie with Newton, and then sit for a hot chocolate and ask him questions. Then he will answer it. You don't need me to say, okay, here's what Newton said. I don't need to hear it from you. I will go and meet Newton in 2 minutes in the metaverse, and I will ask him. That's okay.
And then there is also, and it's also an experience. So it's full of life and energy. But so, do you think, I want to go to take it a little bit further, and we will go back to fear and technology, because I think we have still some issues to cover. But do you think that also right now, as we're talking about hybrid work, meaning people who are working 2 or 3 days, from home or whatever, from the beach, and only coming for 2 days to the office for, crucial meetings. Do you think we can do the same with education? Because education now shouldn't be done in one place, like, health or I would say medical procedures. These days, they shouldn't be done only on hospitals. And we know that 70% of people who arrive to the hospital shouldn't be there. And in a few years, they won't be there. And there is a question what they're going to do with the hospitals that they're building right now. But this is another issue. But because we keep building according to the old paradigm and not the new paradigm. So do you think from a certain age, a child can stay at home or go to the beach, I couldn't care less, and do the exercise and, send the exercise that is done, and come only for, group activities to. And
I would say absolutely, with exactly what you say, with some balance. And when I'm talking about this balance, of course, I still think that children needs to interact socially with their peers. So let's say, I think that we can differentiate between learning activity and social activity. I still think that there's merit and value for social activity to be in a face-to-face setup, okay? And some of it can also be virtual, but I would not, I don't think that we can give away that. Now, so I separated between the social activity and the learning activity. Now learning is a different thing. Now here, we can also create a balance. There's absolutely times where you can learn from home, online, in your own times, and in your own. What's technology and AI brings us is this personalization and adaptation. You can learn the way you like to learn. And in some part, I would still give some team assignments, because I think it's still important for people to know how to learn and collaborate in a team setup, because we need to still prepare them to their future life and the work life, and they would need to know how to work and collaborate in teams. But absolutely, we can do hybrid structure. Again, of course, we need to solve the issue about, we cannot dismiss the need of parents to go to work and to send their children, kids to school so they can. But if also the parents are working from, we cannot. And it depends on of course, on the age of the child. I think we are going there. It would, it will happen. I think that a few years down the road, let's start from in the academia, it's already happening. Okay, regardless of the COVID-19, many colleges today are offering programs that there's 2 days on campus and 1 day online. Not because of health issues, because this is what the students wants to do. This is what they are interested in. And it would start from higher education, and I believe we would see it
watering down,
and it will go down down the line. Not sure about elementary schools, but high schools, I see it coming.
You know, I'm picturing in my mind, you know, a 6 years telling to his parents, please leave the house. You're doing so much noise. I can't concentrate on my homework. And he's pushing through the door. I need the home to quiet my mind and do the homework. I'm just joking, but
I think architects needs to design homes and apartments with this notion in mind that people are working from home, studying from home, and I think they need to. We would see new apartments and new homes designed for that. Okay, with cubicles, the home would look somewhat like a mix of a residence and an office. It's already happening.
Yeah.
But now
are you working from home? Are you working from home?
Hello. Creating a home office environment which supports that.
Yeah. I also moved to a new apartment lately, and I insisted that it's going to be a large one because I needed to have also a big, you know, terrace that I can go and breathe some air. So it's it's the same. Yeah. I want to go back because we have only like 5 to 10 minutes, and I want to go back. I have 2 last questions, but they are big ones. If we can, move in space and time freely. Well, it's going to be 3 questions. I'm sorry. I'm going to start with the easiest one, okay? Okay, 20 years from now, how do you see education via technology and technology via education? How do you see this assimilation, even a singularity moment between education and technology? I mean, how, if we can, jump right now into 2043, how would you envision our future? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but still I'm asking this.
I think for that, every child, every student would have this, it's not an imaginary friend, it's an actual friend who is the smartest person on earth. And it's right with you here on your shoulder. And you can ask him anything, everything, anytime. And you would get a good and proper answer to your question. So I think, and that's an amazing experience. Think of it, that you would go through life and there's this consultant or mentor or whatever you call it, or friend, that you can ask him anything. And he would give you the right answer for you, by the way, not just. So we are now talking about ChatGPT, and it's once it would be also personalized. So ChatGPT would give Amir different advices and knowledge than it gives to Yahli, because it knows Yahli and it knows Amir. And I'd say, wow, it's wonderful. And you would never be caught in a situation that you don't know something, say, or even if you are, 2 seconds, and okay, brief me on this, brief me on that. Language, I'm going to an event, I'm traveling, and I want to see what is this building, all the knowledge, boom, right there, okay? So that's, I think we are, this is the future that we are going. So we don't need to we need to know how to learn and how to ask questions. We don't need to memorize things. The knowledge is always available in 2 seconds. So it's about our curiosity to ask. And by the way, going back to children, this is, look on children, what is this? What is that? How this is working? Okay? I wish we could maintain this curiosity forward. Okay, so that's
okay. Now the second question.
Now the key is what we're going to do with this knowledge, or how we are going to use this knowledge to our advantage, to our career, to people would still need to work, I guess, and to earn some and provide some value and to earn, yeah.
Now, how would you use technology right now to deal with the fear of technology, not only on the educator side? Because, I've been, I'm trying to teach about the future and to assist people, take a less cautious, less fearful. And I have a lot of discussion with people, especially in the business, of course, arena, but they keep telling me, oh, the future is vague, it's not coming, it's only, it's aspirational. So in a sense, they are declining the need to prepare for that. And because we are right now with 15 disruptive technologies which are coming to age this decade, and no one is prepared. So I'm concerned about the frightening, the wave that soon, because there is going to be a tsunami of innovations, and human race, we are not prepared for that. And so if the first reaction is going to be fear, we are going to find ourselves, I'm sorry, but in a very negative scenario planning. And negative scenarios has a huge potential to become the reality if we don't take care of it. So how would you take, not the children and the educators, but people in the government, people in the municipality, people who are making decisions in the business world, leaders, economical leaders. How would you teach them, and how would you use technology to deal with their fear of technology?
It's an excellent question. So let's give an example. Okay, let's say, something that we can relate, also something that I research. Let's say, cyberbullying, for example. We invented the internet, we invented social networks, and then we find out that some of those interactions can be very offensive and very violent. And now I can use technology, to detect cyberbullying. I can use technology to detect harmful posts or sharing inappropriate content automatically, and detecting fear and depression, and so with the technology, and also notify the parents and parental control and all that. So here's technology, here's some bad aspects that evolve. Now let's use technology trying to mitigate and to help with that. Okay, so just an example. So yes, we can always use technology for that. I think this is the places of government and regulations to say, not just because businesses, they want to make money, that's their key goal, but as a society, as governments, as regulators, they said, no, we need also to take care of the well-being of the people. And if there's some side effects to your technology, I would require you to deal with that and to make an effort to develop some tools and technologies that can mitigate the harmful effects of your technology, and because they will not do it on their own, and this is exactly the place of governments and regulations, and to keep our privacy and all those things.
And how would you deal with the fear of the common people, you know, when they put the first, light, I mean, electric light in Paris, the first night, there were a mob going around and smashing it and, and smashing the and saying that this is, we are stealing, we are robbing the soul of the night, or, all kinds of luddites. So how would you deal with the fear of, we don't want autonomous trucks, we don't want flying cars, we don't want, AI and robotic surgeries, and they are needed, it's needed for human surviving. So what do you think about that?
I think the best way is really to try and explore with the people who are fearing technology a use case which they can think that it can help them in something, and it can bring them some value. Okay. And once we give them that, okay, and they say, okay, nice, you helped me. Now I'm willing to hear some more. So I think the key is through dialogue and through respecting the other side, and let's help them, and let's bring them value in the places that they identify. And once you do that, they will walk with you onwards on this journey of adopting new technologies.
The last question is a fun question, if I may. Let's assume you can right now invite to your lab to work with you, to co-create with you the future. And you can ask anyone, any kind of scientist, artist in the world. Let's start with people who are living right now. It's a two-part question. So who would you ask to work with you right now? There is no, no restraints, no question of money, everything and everyone are available, just in,
it would be from a job security, it's going to be a very risky decision knowing his behavior, but definitely Elon Musk. Okay, definitely.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm willing for him to be, definitely him.
Why him?
I think he's an amazing. He has some issues like everyone and some challenges, but I'm willing to. I just want to sit near him and see him working and managing and taking decisions, and the way he analyzes things. I mean, we're talking about ChatGPT, OpenAI. He was one of the founders. I mean, any place you touch, autonomous cars, Tesla, whatever, SpaceX, it is also a Neuralink with chips in the brain.
Okay.
He's the guy. He's my guy.
Okay, brilliant. I just want to tell you that one of my teachers, Salim Ismail, was speaking with him, and we were speaking about the Hyperloop, and he says, but you can't take a person, put him in this, very, very, very fast, train, and then stop it immediately, from 250 kilometers or whatever to an hour, and stop it within a minute. He says, and Salim has his PhD in theoretical science, physics. So he says, people would die. And you know what Elon Musk told him? This is an issue we have to solve. Okay, now the second part, I'm opening the past, the future, and the present. You can ask anyone, Einstein, Newton, Sophocles, Aristotle, to come and work with you. I don't know, or perhaps Mozart, I don't know that. Who would you ask to come to work with you?
I would actually go and bring back to life, and I would go from something which is closer, and I'm missing his voice and vision. I would invite Shimon Peres also to my office. I think that we talked before about age and how with age you're getting.
I'm not sure all the audience know who Peres was or is. Can you just tell who he was?
So he's for me to Okay, so
because I'm not sure that everybody knows.
Shimon Peres, Prime Minister, President of Israel, but more than that, he was, I think, when we are talking about Israel as a startup nation, I think it's his spirit. Now, we had business entrepreneurs who did great things, but I think, to me, because it came from the government area, is a role model to see how can I still be in a bureaucratic government organization and still inject, innovation spirit, and a can do spirit, and he did, wow, amazing things.
And someone else?
As a regulator, also.
As a regulator. Okay.
So that's an inspiration for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Because that's it. We have 2 minutes. So anyone else?
I would also bring Freud. We talk about, our amygdala and our fears. Let's bring him also to the office. Maybe he can have some interesting conversation with Elon Musk.
Interesting. Wow.
I would bring someone from psychology.
Of psychology.
Yeah. Into that, yeah. So these are, in my office, Elon Musk, Freud, and Shimon Peres.
Okay, and you are coordinating the conversation.
Yeah, it's a fun office.
Amir, can I be asked to join you, please? Just, for whatever. I'll bring,
There you go. Yes, you are invited, of course.
Amir, it's been a great pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it at least as I did.
Always.
And I'm looking forward for the next time. We just have to find
Same here. Thank you, Yahli.
Have a beautiful
pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. Always here as well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.